The only reason why Demon Slayer is as good as it is and as popular as it is because of the animation studio behind it.
Say it.
If Ufotable
Say it.
wasn't doing the animation, and if it was just like a regular, if it wasn't Ufotable, Bones, or any of the or Mappa, and if it was just a regular new animation company that came out, it wouldn't have gotten this much hype. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Baka Gamers Podcast. On this podcast, me and my friends talk about all things anime and video games. And on today's episode, we're going to do a little hot take episode. Each one of us are going to share our own hot takes for anime and pretty much kind of talk about it. So before we begin, I got to introduce the usual suspects. Got my boy Glow.
Yo.
Gian.
What's good, brother, man?
and Charlie. So, of course, we already talked all stream, so I ain't gonna ask how you guys doing. I already know. Everyone's stressed. Everybody's stressed
at 100,
especially after this weekend. But I'm not gonna go too deep because so much happened this weekend. But in news, I want to talk. So recently, there has been a lot of like Bayonetta voice acting issues, which has been crazy. And I'm not going to dive into it because that can honestly be a whole episode in itself. Agreed. So for now, I want to ask the question to you guys with the, so the voice actor, the original voice actor was pretty much didn't take the job because she was paid, they offer her less money. And so she came on Twitter and basically made a whole video, made a couple of videos to basically boycott the game. Now, my question to you guys is, because I was a little bit conflicted, would you guys, if you guys had, your favorite game or whatnot, and then like something like this happened, would you boycott that media, or would you still like, indulge in it and buy it?
Because I'm being real.
Yeah, say it.
If I'm being honest.
Be real.
I'm going to play it.
Bible.
I won't be happy about it, but I'm going to play the game because I like the series. You know what I mean? What they did to my girl's dirty. Don't get me wrong. But unfortunately, it's like, it's not just her, right? Like, there's a lot of work that went into the game and all that sort of stuff. And man, my measly $70 ain't going to make a dent into their profits, bro. Like, but I don't know. Like, it depends. It sounds like what went down, they lowballed her for like her talent and whatnot. For sure. But if I don't know, if I was looking forward to a game, and how long has this game been in development for? Like 7 years?
It feels like that. I think like less, but still, it's like we didn't hear anything about it till like maybe 4 years later, I think.
Yeah. Like, imagine looking forward to a game for like 7 years, and then like a couple months before it's released, they're like, nah, don't buy it. It's like, well, damn.
My pre-order already in.
Yeah.
And that's what got me too, because it was like she comes out like pretty much a week before this game comes out, and I'm like, come on, why it gotta be some controversy? I'm just trying to have some fun. Play my favorite video game. Like the whole time, like I'm seeing this whole thing unfold, a part of me is like, I mean, I'm still gonna play the game, honestly. Because it's like, not only because like I got the pre-order in, but also it's like I've been waiting a really long time to play this game. Such an anticipated game for years, like one of my favorite, one of my anticipated games of the year. And this controversy comes out, and I'm like, I mean, like it sucks what happened to her for sure. But I feel like, especially like recently, like the new voice actor came out on Twitter. She can't say much because of the old NDA thing, but from her actions on there, especially the recent statement she came out, clearly, she knew nothing about it. And most of these voice actors don't know anything that goes on, unless somebody tells them. So, my heart goes out to the original voice actor, but I'm sorry, I'm gonna play it.
Yeah, I feel the same, honestly. Because I don't
Yeah,
want to be devil's.
yeah.
I would be devil's advocate, but like part of me is like, okay, but what was the contract that you signed? You know, like what did that? Is that something that you can bring back to legality just so you can get the money that you deserve, or is something that's just closed cut? That's the question that has me in the back of my head like I'll stop by the king, but
plus it's also kind
I
of like
didn't.
it's kind of
Yeah.
like like I looked at that, I'm like, it's kind of wild how you kind of bring that up before a week before the game comes out.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, why did you wait that long? Like you
I
could have said
mean,
a,
But well, she was under like a
you
contract, so I get that, but it's like, it's one of
yeah,
those things where it's like you don't know anything until like you get more information, because you're not in it. Only they are. So it's like you can only believe what the media what the media gives you and what new information comes out. But of course people are like divided on the whole thing, and just a wild situation.
yeah. Like I'll wag my finger at the studio. Don't get me wrong. I'll be like, damn, how
exactly,
y'all do it like that? That's crazy. Let me just boot this game up real quick.
exactly.
Like, I
Yeah,
don't know.
just put a black veil over your TV.
Just put just
So
put a
no one can see
blindfold
you.
on. Put
I
a
don't
blindfold
know.
to play by the sound effects.
Close the curtains. No one
Word.
can see you. God won't see you.
No
God
one
will
can
judge.
see.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
But honestly, what would I don't want to like drag this on, but like, what would be your deal breaker for not buying the game at all?
I
Like,
think I mean
If they had like some slaves making the game or something like
word.
that, that they uncovered in some factory, you know what I mean? Like,
Word, the
then I'd be like,
sweatshops, yo, putting the
yeah,
disc
like,
out.
Like, if I'm speaking honestly, I don't know if there's something that. All right, so I have a. When it comes to me consuming product in general, right? I don't know what things can make me decide not to consume the product if I want to, like unless it's something directly with I don't know. That's a weird question. I
Yeah, because
specifically about Bayo 3, I don't think because even if it really came down to it, if I really wanted to, I could play without paying, sure.
yeah,
ah,
yeah,
yeah.
like play. I mean, like,
No,
sure.
no,
yeah. I
you
mean,
can't. No, you
those
can't. No, you
those
can't.
memes are out
Sure.
there,
Yeah, if
Yeah,
man.
I really
Yeah,
wanted
yeah,
to, I could. But it's like
yeah.
it's like that's a thing, but but the game's still getting played, so in the end, like
you
right,
know, like people are still indulging in that content, no matter
yeah.
right,
even like
right.
Nintendo gets, especially. I mean, like, come on, you play the emulation part and like, damn, I kind of want to own this game physically, and then it's like,
Because
damn, wait, they about to
even
win.
then, when once I just start talking with people about the game, that word of
Mm-hmm.
mouth is still spreading, and that's still like so. It's
Yeah,
like
you're still
there's
boosting
Yeah.
the game.
it's a rough situation where it's like I don't
Damned
know
if
because
you do,
I
you're
don't know if I've
damned if you
ever
don't.
been yeah I don't know if I've ever
Yeah.
been deterred from buying a product for a reason that was outside of the product itself being bad or something that I didn't want.
Right,
I'm trying to think, and I don't think that's ever happened to me. Because, like you said earlier, it's like she got finessed, which sucks. It's awful, damn the
Right.
company. But there's so many more people that are also still involved that, that pays the. It's weird. It's a weird situation. It's so nuanced,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
you know? And like you said too, it's like it's mad. I wish we would have known this sooner, but at the
Yes.
same time, we haven't been hearing anything about Bayo 3 in
Yeah.
the past years.
right.
We only just like we got that one trailer like 2 years ago, which was like a 3-second trailer where they showed Bayo like fading away, and then we didn't hear anything. Then last year we heard, hey, we're gonna show you something next year, and then
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we started seeing stuff now. So it's like,
Right. And now it's like, by the way, don't buy the game.
Don't
yeah,
buy it.
Right.
Like,
Like, I bet you, like, soon as the game comes out, we're gonna get more stuff coming out about the whole development and stuff, and then we're
'cause,
like, oh man, I'm sad I got this game. Oh man, look at this, look at this, look at that
yeah.
done.
like
As soon
cry.
as that NDA's up, yo, we're gonna get
That's what I was
all
gonna
the
say.
tea.
Like,
Yeah,
who knows what NDAs were keeping her from saying anything about this? But so it's like
Right.
it's a weird thing. Like me personally, I don't know. The best way I can show support is, sailing the seas and whatnot, and maybe playing it that way. That's probably the best thing I can do because I'm finna play this game. I've been waiting too long. But
word.
like the best I could do is, what I'm saying, arg, ahoy, mateys, and what I'm saying.
Right.
But yeah, outside of that, I don't know.
Yeah, it's a
The
tricky
game would have to
situation.
just suck for me to not
Yeah, the game would
play
have to
it.
be booty, but then at that point, you need to play the game in order to determine
Yeah.
that.
No,
You know
that
what I
is
mean?
booty.
Mhm.
So
Exactly.
So it's
Exactly.
it's
So
a
with
yeah,
it's
that
a
being,
weird situation,
yeah.
man.
So with that being
it's
said, it's like
yeah,
it's just a whole bunch of factors, and it's like it's hard to consider. But
yeah.
Yeah.
hopefully we hope for the best. I'm still playing that game. Anyway,
Yeah, hope she gets a check, man.
hopefully it gets to check. But moving on, not much news, but we got some good anime lined
Fam,
up for this
Hmm.
season.
Yes.
Ooh.
fam.
First off, like, I mean, how many people have seen the new Bleach? I mean, Glow, I know you already started with
Nah,
I
what
kind
you
of got.
mean? I skipped it.
I.
show.
Of course I
Oh,
watched
You
it,
really?
brother.
liar.
Come on. Of course I watched it.
Lying. Um,
Beautiful, beautiful through and through. Like the animation, the
soundtrack, the
the
sound
vibe,
design
the soundtrack, like
Yes.
the ending theme, bro. And like, I didn't see the episode that came out
today. You didn't see it,
today,
yo?
the
It's a
October
shame I
17th,
did.
right? I didn't see. Oh, you shut up. And I know the opening. But I wanted to talk about that too. I don't want to go off on a tangent, but I heard the opening like spoil stuff
Oh,
from the
that
manga. So
opening, yeah, the opening spoils so much from the It's like Kuba was like, "So you didn't read that manga from 6 years ago? Shame."
where you like y'all some anime onlys still?
Y'all had extra time, bro.
I mean, like watching the opening, like when I looked at, because people show pictures, and I'm like, even if you were an anime only, you really wouldn't get the context for a lot of the
Yeah.
stuff that was happening
Okay.
anyway. So it's like, it's out of context. Like unless I mean, if you really want to sit down and figure it out, maybe. But like for anime only who hasn't read the manga, they'll be fine. Maybe one little spoiler about like what happens to Ichigo, and we all know what happens to
Right.
Ichigo throughout this whole arc. So it's like that we all know that's a little spoiler, but it's not much. Like, we
Okay.
still gotta the journey to get to where we want to get to is what we're in for, and it looks great, especially with this recent episode.
Right. And one of my favorite parts about that thing coming up, bro, it's just the hype around it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, I know there's some people who are like, yo, y'all jumping on the Bleach bandwagon and everything like that. Y'all were like hiking on Bleach like all these past years, and now y'all want to be cool with it. But I'm like, hey, yo, the more the merrier. I don't care. I
Yeah.
don't care, yo.
Yeah, there was a lot of people on Twitter saying, "Dang, bro, I'm mad that Bleach is gonna be good because now I can't talk trash about it anymore." I saw that a lot on Twitter, which was funny to me.
That's hilarious, yo.
Yeah, it was like, "Now I can't get the Bleach fans mad by saying that junk is mid because it's not," and I'm like, "Yeah,
Yeah, shame.
that's crazy." Yeah, like I don't know, man. I only watched the first episode. I haven't decided if I'm gonna watch everything,
Yeah,
but
I got you.
that's just me. For some, like I'm probably gonna watch more so when it's all out.
Mm-hmm.
Where you live at, bro?
Huh?
Let him
I already
live.
know. I live like 15 minutes from you, bro. You already know, bro. Like, so yeah, like I'm probably
Wow.
gonna wait, but I haven't fully decided yet. It was fire though.
No,
Kubo showing why he's goated. You know what I'm saying?
like,
Goated intro still ain't missed yet in Bleach not once,
Not
mhm.
but
once.
not
Like
once.
with this recent episode that came out, like the vibes are there for everything. It feels like we never left.
Mhm.
Like watching the anime. But I agree with you, John. Like, because it's like like for me, like after watching this episode, I was like, I might reread it from the beginning, leading up to this, and then if I pass it, I'll pass it because it's like I already know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
I'm just here to really see the good quality action, honestly, and quality is there. Feels
The
like a
vibes,
freaking
bro.
movie
It is.
every
It
The
is.
episode.
vibes.
Like
It
the
definitely
action is
is.
there. I'm like, dang, yo, Dragon Ball.
It's
Dragon Ball
like
Swords is great, yo.
the thing that I want from this anime is hopefully Kubo gets to like finish it the way he would have like go through the story the way he really wanted to.
Mhm,
Yeah,
Because for this arc in the manga, he got rushed to finish it.
mhm.
absolutely.
So that's why it feels like stuff just starts happening for no reason. So it's like that's what I want from the anime. That's why I don't want to watch it weekly to like weekly because it's like that's not what I'm here for
Mhm.
exactly. Whereas once the whole thing's out, I can kind of get a grasp on what stuff changed? Did he update things? And if
I
not,
feel
then I can
that.
just watch it just to feel the vibes. And then if it was, I get to just watch it all in one go. Because even the manga, I'll say, is better in one swipe. Like
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely hits better.
It's really, honestly, to your point too. It's just like really like we already know what we're about to get, because I think it's gonna be separated into like it's gonna be like 50 episodes, so they're probably gonna separate it to like 4 cores.
Yeah, it's
And
four
they say
cores.
so. It's
Yeah.
like for me, it's like we already know the beginning's gonna be fire because the manga really did. It was fire. It's all the way up to the end is where we're gonna be like really watching intently how that unfolds.
Yeah.
And like just see it where it goes. And like I have faith that he'll get the ending that he really wanted to do, and it'll be better. And I'll be like, I'll buy the DVD.
And then I just need that Bleach Hell Arc manga to continue. He dropped that one shot and said, "Aha!"
Word and left.
To be continued, by the way, and then said, "Aye, silence."
He's just at home watching.
Yeah, he at home chilling, eating beans right now, out the can, by the way.
Out the can with chopsticks.
Yeah. So that's what I'm really as far as Bleach goes. That's kind of what I'm looking at it for. If he was able to kind of change that ending a bit, fix it up. And if that manga finna continue soon, which I think it would only make sense for it to. You can't drop that one shot.
You
can't drop that and dip because he looked refreshed.
Right.
Writing was on point. The art, like, bro, come on.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, and then of course we got Chainsaw. I'm not gonna linger too long, but how about Chainsaw Man? Anybody watched that yet?
Yes.
I haven't watched that. I'm a manga only for it.
Yeah, it's okay.
If that's a hot take, y'all hold it.
That's my hot take.
Okay, I'll hold it.
I gotta hold it.
Whoa. We'll get in there in a minute. But I'm like overall, I think like I'm pretty happy with how it came out. I mean, the 3D don't look that bad, honestly. I like it. Plus, it's Mappa. Okay, hold on.
I haven't read the manga.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, we gotta be careful. Yeah.
But you said you haven't read the manga?
I haven't. Once I heard it was announced and whatnot, I did wait for the anime. Charlie, please don't hang me. Don't hang me.
Okay, you know what? I'll let you pass because High Top got me into it because you said, "Why don't you read the manga?" in the chat one time. I'm like,
I got it. Oh, I didn't know that.
You did.
I figured like because I know I remember you got me into like Gantz back in the day, and the way it ended, I was disappointed. But I didn't know I got you into Chainsaw. I feel like I found that on my own. Oh wow, dang! Look at that.
Yeah, you did. And I stayed reading till then.
Look at you.
Feed you.
So proud.
See, because my brother read it, right? And he knows I'm doing the anime thing, not reading it and everything like that. And he just keeps looking at me like, you have no idea. No idea what you in for, bro. I'm like, should I read it?
No, watch the anime. You here now?
Yeah, you are here now. Because if you read it now, you're gonna be like, wow.
Mm-hmm. You're gonna spoil yourself too hard.
Yeah, you're strapped in. Yeah.
All right. Well, with that being said, we're gonna move into our main topic of tonight. So, just to reiterate, we're gonna be talking about some of our hot takes for anime tonight. So each of us are gonna share one, and pretty much we're just gonna talk about it, see how we feel, and to break the ice, I'll start first. Okay, I feel like this is a well-known hot take in the community in general, but honestly, Demon Slayer. The only reason why Demon Slayer is as good as it is and as popular as it is because of the animation studio behind it.
Say it.
If Ufotable wasn't doing the animation, and if it was just like a regular, if it wasn't Ufotable, Bones, or any of or Mappa, and if it was just a regular new animation company that came out, it wouldn't have gotten this much hype. It would have been popular for sure, but not this popular though.
Wait, you talking about
Demon Slayer?
Demon Slayer. Oh, wait, I missed that beginning. My fault.
Yeah, that's my hot take. Like Demon Slayer wouldn't be as popular without the animation.
I agree because I read the manga and it's not like if you just read the manga straight by itself, it's just there's no real. It's okay. It's mid.
I disagree.
Oh.
I disagree on a couple points here, though. A couple points.
Okay.
I'll say this. All right. So for the one part, as far as it the anime only being popular because the studio behind it, that is both true and false. Right? It's false because the Demon Slayer manga was doing numbers. That's why the anime was able to get the kind of budget it got,
Mm.
and why in Japan the anime was pushed so much. Now, the animation being what it was, did that skyrocket it? Of course, 100%. But it only got the opportunity because of how well received the manga was.
Can I counterpoint?
All right.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yes.
I'd say Demon Slayer is only like the manga and the story itself. I think it resonates with its Japanese viewers more because the way I remember, I saw someone's comment on it who was like a reader in Japan. They were saying like Demon Slayer is like the equivalent of like Game of Thrones to them.
Mm.
Mhm.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like
that's
it's more of like a cultural phenomenon kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where everyone sort of hopped on it. Now, I wouldn't say that's a testament to its quality, more so a testament to just how it I guess got a cultural grip. And then that's what made it do numbers and got the animation that it did. And everyone loves UFO Table and everything like that. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
Right.
I'm not saying Demon Slayer isn't good, but would it be fair to say that it's so good that's why it captivated the Japanese audience? I don't think so.
Yeah, like my hot take, like the issue with my hot take a little bit is the fact that I haven't read the manga. Because I was curious about it, and then the anime came out and I stuck with that. So
Mhm.
it's like, if I read the manga and watch the anime at the same time, then I feel like my hot take will be a little bit different because like I enjoy the story like as is as an anime only for now. Like I enjoy the story that's being told. And of course, with UFO table on the, like, yeah, the animation's gonna be there. I'm like, I ain't got nothing to worry
Mhm.
about there. But it's like I look at the story and I'm like, it's a good story, but it has certain moments, but like a lot of those moments where I get moved and stuff, it's when it's like I think the most recent season that went by, like it had some really good moments towards the end. It was like budget crazy out the window doing numbers, and like I was really feeling that emotional tug a lot of the times, but I feel like I only got those emotional tugs because of how it was animated.
I would
Like
say, see, the emotional beats all exist in the manga, and they're handled like that's why people were so excited before the movie came out. Because people
mm,
already knew the emotional beats that the manga had in
I
in that moment,
I personally feel like even the movie, because like I said, I read the manga, and I remember I always talk about that scene from the movie, like the movie itself. For as the train, I'm like, yeah, that's the best scene. That's the best. That's the best arc to me in that whole manga. And then I saw the movie, I'm like,
well, to
like
the movie, it
it
was like
just,
they put it in movie form, and it should have probably been like
mm,
a show. But of course, they
yeah.
yeah,
did that later on. But at that point, we've already saw the
But
movie, and it
see,
was
yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Mhm.
Like,
But that's kind of what I mean to say. That was like more so like speaking about how you mentioned that whether you weren't sure if what you were feeling was because of the animation or not.
mm,
That was mostly just to say that the reason people were so excited for that movie was because of the emotional beats that existed
In the
in
manga
the manga.
before, yeah.
Yeah. Like that's why people are like, yo, I can't wait to see how they're gonna handle that. It was one of those situations, not the reverse as much. Cause like for me, I'm not gonna lie. So I was reading the manga, then some friends were watching the anime. I think we watched like 10 episodes together, season one, and then I
Mhm.
finished the manga from there and stopped watching. Um, and then I went back later and like I'd watch here and there. I watched the movie to see like how it compared. Yeah, like me personally, I
mm,
like it. I can do without the like. I don't need the anime to like
yeah,
Demon Slayer.
Yeah, exactly. It's not, but the thing about
Mm,
me is the storyline for Demon Slayer, like the manga itself, it's just like it's type mid to me, and I feel like the animation itself carries the storyline. Because if you just were to read the storyline straight, no pictures, no nothing, like a novel kind of thing, you'd be like, oh, okay, so
I
that's
think I think
like
that's a point I disagree with though, because people will call Demon Slayer mid, and I never get a clear answer to why it's just because. But I think it's also because we look at Demon Slayer for different things. Because
Mhm.
in my opinion, the highlight of Demon Slayer's writing and story
yes,
is the dynamics of the characters in that story.
Like I don't think
Because
Demon Slayer myself. I don't think Demon Slayer is mid. I just think that my fish hawk is just like the animation part of it. Like I feel like like John, like if I sat down right now and decided to read it up to the arc that we got up to, and then wait for the anime to come back for the sword village arc, I think it's called. Then I probably go, okay, I see what you mean. So it's like my hot take is a little bit, you know, it could change if I read the manga. Then it's like, oh, okay, I see what you mean. I take that hot take back. I was wrong. I
I mean, I
apologize.
think I think I think it's I think it's subjective though, because it's like,
it is.
yeah,
what's that? The arc that just happened, the sound, Hashira, what's his name?
No, not wow. My
What's
mind
his
is
name?
getting Tegan. You talking about?
Tengen,
Not
something like that.
Tengen,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Tengen,
Tengen.
right?
Tengen.
So that whole arc that happened, and the sort of fight in, like, the red light district and all that sort of
Yeah.
stuff. When I
Yes.
read that in the manga, I liked it. I enjoyed it. Don't get me wrong. But the cinematography of the anime for that part, like his fight with the um
With the twins, yeah,
with the twin, well, with the demon, like the
yeah,
siblings and stuff like
yeah,
that,
the
I
siblings.
thought that was, from a cinematic standpoint, I thought that was freaking phenomenal.
Oh yeah, it was
Oh
hype.
yeah.
100%.
It
That
was
was
freaking
fire.
Oh
phenomenal.
yeah.
And I was
Yeah.
like,
Very fire. Very
I
fire.
didn't, like, in my head when I like read manga, how like you sort of fill out
Mhm.
Exactly.
the
Mhm.
imagination takes over, right? And it's almost like sometimes anime can't capture what I sort of think of in my head, right? You kind of get that sort of idea. But when I watched that, like, episode or two, I was like, nah, this
Oh, they
exceeds
went
whatever the
beyond
hell
what
I
you.
came up with. Yeah. Yeah, they went above whatever I was thinking, So I was like, well done. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But I don't know. Maybe I have to go back and read the manga again. Maybe I was rushing through it, but I just remember not feeling, I don't
As
know, not
hype.
feeling that hype. Yeah, yeah. Because
Yeah.
I definitely finished the manga from start to finish before the movie came out.
Mhm.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's. Hmm.
All
So
right.
maybe I have to go back. I have to go back, maybe.
All
Yeah.
right. Well, my hot take's done. So who's next? Because I'm curious.
I want to say Chainsaw Man. Like,
You know what? You
down.
know what, Charles? I gotta hear this.
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
hear
Okay.
this.
Okay. Because like I said, High Top got me into it. The Chainsaw manga, and I read the manga like in. It took me a day and a half
Damn.
to read it out because I'm the type, like, when I read something I like, I just get into it and just dive into that world mentally. So I already know what color the hair is before I even see the hair color, any picture, anything like that. So I I love the manga because, one, the art style is so gritty. Two, the storyline is just like crazy because it's just basically a guy who's you know not so much down on his luck, but just gets a little bit of stimuli and is like, all right, I'm good. I'm running with it,
Mhm.
Now that dude
But
down
it's
on his
not.
luck.
He's down on his luck, definitely. But I don't think he's aware that he's down on his luck like that. It's like kind of
Yeah.
like he's aware, but he's okay with it. It's kind
Yeah.
of
I
weird.
gotcha. I
Mhm.
gotcha.
Yeah, and so reading that, I'm like, okay, this is because it's a different plotline. Usually, we get the guy who's down on his luck, and then he jumps up and he somehow becomes rich and famous, like some kind of Aladdin kind of storyline, right? But this storyline is not that. But the anime, I liked it. Don't get me wrong. I love the scenes. Like, it's just the CGI on certain scenes, and I don't want to spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen it.
Don't do
It's
this.
just, it's just that scene at the end that had me like, and I've complained about this before with CGI, and this is especially with Berserk, those round elbows. If I could see round elbow,
Nah, yo, go on, go on, go on. I got something to say.
because it's like I don't give like it's like they kind of dragged it on a little too long, and what made it more apparent was that the music, it seemed like it kind of stopped at that part too, and that made me more aware of how like
What,
round those
awkward?
elbows were. Yes, yes, yeah. That's so I was like, oh, okay, yeah, great. All right, he's still
How
fighting.
round those
Oh,
elbows were.
those round elbow. You know what I'm talking about? Like, the second you see the round elbow, you see, like, okay, now this 3D. Okay, I can see it. Oh, wow. Okay, they didn't
No,
put no much effort in these zombies. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can see, like, it's like they just made it off of like Windows 98, and they're just like, all right,
Damn,
standard zombie.
98.
no. Okay.
Yes, yeah, it felt like that, and I was looking like, oh god, but like, don't get me wrong, the ending was perfect because it betrayed that scene perfectly, but it just that fight scene, I it was good when it started, and then it kind of dragged a little bit to me along for like it just dragged for a minute, went quiet, and then it ended, and then the show ended altogether. Like I said, I don't want to spoil too much or say too much, especially if
No.
anyone hasn't seen it yet, but like.
Okay.
It's
Mhm.
like,
All right. So
yeah.
let me. So I got
Okay,
something to say
sorry.
about that because honestly, uh, like the CGI, the whole first of all, the whole CGI and like 2D art stuff. Like it's a shame that we're seeing a lot of CGI and anime these days. We're not really getting all that hand drawn stuff, hand drawn goodness. Like when Mappa get Jujutsu Kaisen, like that looked good. I mean, I feel like there might have been some 3D in there, maybe, but like
Oh,
how are we
yeah.
gonna know? We didn't see it. But with the recent episode of Chainsaw Man and what I saw from the manga, I liked it. I enjoy that, that part at the end. Like I did, like I remember it had been a while since I read Chainsaw Man. I finished it and everything. But when I looked at that specific panel for that scene, and, obviously, like, look at the panel, the panel's fire, like when you see it. But then you look at the anime and it's like, I feel like there are certain things the anime can only do but so much,
Yes.
especially how to really make a scene as dynamic as possible. And, I get people's issues with CGI, but I think that the ending scene was perfect. I think there's nothing wrong with the CGI,
Or the
and
round elbows.
Perfect.
the round elbows wherever they are, because I ain't seen none.
Okay, so when you get a chance, rewatch just that one part.
You really gonna make
And then
me
you'll,
watch these round
yes,
elbows?
I'm gonna, I'll screen record that for you and just in the
Yeah,
chat
show
because,
me
like,
that.
yes, I will.
and
I'll do a
and this is
breakdown for you.
this is Mappa, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
it
this
is.
studio is like I mean, I don't know how they're working. They probably got different teams working on different, productions and stuff like that. So people aren't, OD overworked, but I don't know. They gotta be overworked to some degree. Um, I don't want to say 3D animation is cutting corners. I don't want to say that, but a lot of the time you use 3D animation to save time and money, right?
Yeah.
For sure.
But maybe the way that it was used in this episode, they probably thought that's the best way to go about it. I'm not sure if they did it for budgetary reasons, but I'll be honest with you, I wasn't expecting as much CGI as we got. There was a lot of CGI in the episode, and there probably will be throughout the series. I wasn't expecting that much, but I can say they did a decent job, at least in my opinion, from my point of view, to make it not so ugly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because like you got,
yes,
because like then compare like that CGI to like the Berserk stuff. The
We
Berserk's
don't
a
talk
whole,
about that,
the
bro.
Berserk thing is a whole different animal in and of itself.
They
So
they
it's
didn't
like,
try. They didn't try. Like
nuh-uh.
they
Like
didn't
that's
try it out.
that's late. Like there's bad CGI and there's good CGI. Berserk is bad CGI. We all know. But
yeah,
Yes,
like you have
the
that,
ugly Martians, bro.
like I think
yes,
Ali had brought it up in a previous podcast of this anime called Land of the Lustrous. and it was
Mhm.
like
Mm.
about these gems, and it's like these living gems protecting their home and stuff.
Oh, that one. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
and it was like that was all CGI, and it was beautiful. Like they did a really good job, and it's like it's possible for CGI to reach that potential. Like especially with the, I know people aren't happy with the CGI for the
Bash the Stampede.
Vash Stampede, but
See, there's a diff-
the recent trailer I saw for it, I was like, you know what? Like especially with the expressions and stuff that showed, it was, oh wow, I didn't expect it to be as expressive as it was, as I see it. So it was like, you know, it's a shame that they should have went, not to go off topic, but it's a shame that they didn't go with like the standard 2D animation for such a classic anime, and instead to go CGI with it. But from the CGI, it doesn't look that bad. But I think that with Vash Stampede, that's like a, I think it's supposed to be a reboot of some kind anyway.
Yeah, it reminds me of when they. I don't know if you recall back in the day. They. Oh, I sound old say that, but when they did a reboot of was it Gundam? No, no. It was Transformers, and instead of doing a cartoon, because they had the cartoon out for years, they did a reboot of it to make it more kid friendly. So they did like a mini version of it, which was all CGI, and it was just like you see these little mechas roaming around looking like it was just so bad, because
Mm.
Mm.
even though it's robots without expressions, you're still like, oh no, that
Yeah,
and y'all.
but at the end of the day, it's like, you know, there are good CGI animations out there. And like I feel like Mappa, you know, like in Glow, like Lo said, like at the end of the episode, like they used enough of it to get the point across. And I highly doubt, you know, we won't see any round elbows in future episodes. But like if
Mm.
I'm gonna look back on that episode, because honestly I didn't find anything wrong with it. I thought it was perfectly fine. But if there was something wrong with it, I don't think it'll be like that throughout the entire series. Especially with, you know, even though the workers are being overworked, with Mappa's track record, and Mappa we trust. Well, and I trust anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
I
Say,
trust him.
oh,
Yeah.
come on, man.
Yeah. Like, I can't speak to us directly about the Chainsaw Man anime, like I said, because I haven't watched it. I'm a manga only person.
Mhm.
Through and through.
I've seen clips of the Chainsaw Man thing, and but it hasn't been any of it, like any action scenes. It's been like the goofy stuff. So I can't comment too much about this anime specifically, but
Mm.
kind of like what Glow said as far as the CG being predominantly used to save money, time. It's a budget thing. There are It can be used stylistically, but a lot of
Mm.
times it isn't, which is sad, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
'Cause even Demon Slayer uses it intermittently in between, certain frames and things like that as a supplement, or rather as a complement to the animation they're doing. So it's like it can be done well, but one thing that it has to overcome in general before it has to overcome the stigma, because some people will just automatically see CG and go, it sucks.
That's it.
That's it.
Like,
Yeah.
so it's like, and that's a hot take in and of itself, where it's like CG always sucks. It sucks 90% of the time, yes. So it's like, but yeah, like it's a rough one when it's like you're trying to decide of like, okay, did this have to be CG? Because that always becomes the question.
Yeah.
Right.
Whenever you see an
Right.
anime, it's like, did it have to be? Like, why are
Mhm.
we not just choosing, That was one thing I figured about with Blue Lock, where I was like, yeah, they better not pull up the CG with Blue Lock, because that's not gonna work. Like, that was one of my worries with that, because I've seen many anime, I've seen many mangas become ruined as anime because of bad CG. Kanganashira wouldn't do that.
Mhm.
Oh,
Um,
Flowery
that was,
Evil.
it was sad. It was sad.
Yeah.
Mm.
Like that. Oh man, like
The whole
Yeah.
thing with CJ, like how you make a manga that's very dark and psychological, an entire anime CGI, but like the style where they draw over actually a person's body kind of thing, like that. I don't know what that's called, but how do you do that for a whole entire season? Like, I don't understand.
Yeah, like that was like you knew they were just like trying to get this out as soon as
You know they
possible.
had $3. It was like,
Mhm.
yo, how
Yeah.
can we get this whole season
Let's
out on?
do this.
I
We got
know.
one computer.
We got one animator who can
It's
do
a
3D. Do it.
Yeah, bro. Like we got the studio for 3 days, bro. What we finna do with this? Like, so
No
yeah.
activation key for Windows. All
Yep,
that,
bro.
like-
In the corner, like, yo, you need to activate, bro. I don't know. It's gonna expire in 3 days. So,
All right.
so yeah,
Well,
like it's definitely I can't speak on the Chainsaw Man specifically,
Mm.
but because coming from the manga is great. That the writer, he is amazing at writing in
Oh, I
general.
love him. I love him.
Yes.
He's been
Yeah.
dropping these one shots randomly. All of them been fire, but
Yeah.
Chainsaw Man is just a really dope manga. So I was kind of excited for the anime, and that more people would get to see Chainsaw Man. But you know, whenever I'm reading a manga and the anime gets announced later, I have that, you know what I'm saying, I always got to hold my breath because you never know what it's gonna be. So
Mm.
so far, I think I've been hearing more positive than negative. I think about the anime,
Mm.
Yeah.
I got you.
but
you know,
yeah,
like
like
time will
it.
tell. Time will
A
tell.
lot of people,
Yeah.
a lot of people don't see those round elbows. That's all it is.
Yeah, but I can 100% see the people with the magnifying glasses coming through as it goes on
Oh
more
yeah,
and more.
definitely. Like, look
So,
at this
like-
panel. This panel does not look
It's like,
exactly
hey,
like
what
this
was that?
scene.
That was
Yeah,
crazy.
Yeah,
I
so
didn't
it's
see a
like,
shadow.
like,
Oh,
yeah, did that model get dragged and dropped across the screen? I don't know. Like, so it's like,
yeah.
yeah, and that comes with the arena of choosing CG, you know. So it's
Right.
like, if someone says yeah, like that's why I can never be 100% mad at someone that goes to CG. I'm not watching it
Yeah.
because that can be a huge turnoff, especially for someone coming off of a manga that has like a very stylistic thing, or is like just it's rough. It's rough. And because
Mhm.
we got the emotional damage of the past. We got baggage with CG anime.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, for
definitely.
sure.
As
It's
long
hard
as
to
they don't
overcome
mess up that one scene in the manga, that's like the top scene that you've seen every single person
Mhm.
that made those little animations on YouTube,
Yeah.
highlights and AMVs. I know you know what scene I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I'm
yeah.
not gonna go in detail, but you know exactly that scene that you felt that you felt
Yeah.
like you were in it.
Yeah. I'm with you.
If they mess that up, I'm gonna be mad.
Yeah,
But
that's
there's no way to mess that up though. But it's just like
you
they
think that, but then they surprise you.
I'm
Yeah,
telling
man.
you, bro, I'm throwing it.
They're like, hold my beer, I got this. You hold my
Word,
sake,
bro.
you hold my
Like
sake.
we remember we thought that we're Promised Neverland, and then
Ugh.
Yeah.
we thought, oh, after season 1, we're like, there's no way they ruined this, right, guys? Tiki Lamau epic. So yeah, you never know. You
Because
never
we
know,
got the source material, right, guys? Right, guys?
bro.
we it's a whole
Because that's
list.
the thing. That I guess that's my hot take. It's wait. Is this? I don't think this counts
No,
as a hot
go
take.
on,
Never
go
mind.
on. You can go
You can
next
jump
if you
in.
I don't
want.
think.
Go.
I was gonna say. Theoretically, yeah, this probably isn't even a hot take, but theoretically, anime should be better. Anime should be the best medium for these stories. Theoretically, it should be the best, but it almost never is, and it's like,
Mm.
why is that? You would think that it would be the best, but even see, I'm starting to doubt myself right there
You
too.
raised
I
my
don't-
brows, sir. I was like,
Yeah.
whoa.
It should be like because when you think about it on paper, it should
Yeah.
be right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
'cause
on paper to see the colors, like
It should be,
the
but it isn't.
dynamics,
Because
but
it's
and
like
the
the way,
music.
because the way like media is today, like everyone's watching something these days. Not a lot of people are really reading as much
Hey,
as
fall
they
back.
do, and
No.
it's huh?
I said, hey, fall back.
He said, "Watch out."
Yeah. Oh, him.
They're nice. They're nice.
But no, I feel like a lot more people are like watching stuff, so it's like like I feel like anime should be its ultimate form. It's like depending on what studio. I feel like nowadays like we really focus on the studio and who's doing it. Like because back in the day when we were old. Back in the day, we on Toonami and we watched Inuyasha and like Cowboy Bebop and stuff, and it's like we were younger, so it's we appreciate this as it is. You know, it had good stories and stuff, but then over time, as you get older, what studio's doing this anime? What studio's doing this anime? And
That's because
so,
of trust, you know.
Yeah, it's definitely because
Yeah.
of
because we see UFO tables like, oh, it's okay. It's a wrap. We already know it's gonna be good. You know, Trigger always flame. You know, and so it's like you think that usually, you know, those studios, but then we hear a random studio that is gonna do this random anime, this big anime. Like, I don't know.
No,
Yeah,
no.
that's
I
that's
don't
It's
like that's
know.
like
funny.
it's like I'm holding my breath for the solo leveling anime. Holding
Look,
my breath.
look, bro.
Oh
Look,
yeah, I forgot
Still
about
a
no.
it's
deep.
UFO
funny.
table's doing that one, right?
I'm
No,
still
I don't
holding
know
my.
if it's UFO
I
table.
don't think it's UFO
It's not
table, but I'm
UFO table.
holding my
It's
breath.
A1. It's A1 Pictures, I think.
Still holding my breath because I
Hold my
can never.
breath. Come on.
Because even with the track records, because that's kind of because what happens is as anime became more, we start getting more and more anime. We start to see those disappointments, and we start to try to figure out why. And then we
Yeah.
go, oh, this studio didn't do the good. But then we go, okay, so why did we like those ones? Oh, so these people made the good stuff. Well, whenever these guys make something, I'm with it, and it becomes like that, So it's like that
Yeah.
track record carries you a certain amount, So it's like,
But it's funny that you mentioned that though, because like the other day, my brother and I we were talking, and we had a discussion. Like sometimes when we find out about series, right, we ask, is there a manga, is there a light novel, and is there an anime for it, right?
Mm.
And now it's gotten to the point where we're like, which is the best out of the three?
yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Like normally
Right.
you'd think, oh, the anime has to be fire if it's done by like a good studio or something like that. But now it's like, it's almost like hit and miss at this point. So you're like, nah, I'd rather like read the light novel or I'd rather pick up the manga. You know what I mean? And the anime is just not an afterthought, but it's like as soon as you hear the studio, you're like, nah, I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah.
Studios have become really big to where it's like you hear the name and it's like, oh, I never heard of you. I'm not sure. You know, you got to show me on that first episode. But then you hear a regular
Right.
one, hear a usual one. It's like, that's it. We good.
Right.
We
Like
good.
what's
We
the
don't have to worry. We
definitive
just going.
version?
We just waiting now. Hopefully, they don't have round elbows.
Oh, yeah. The amount of elbows will
Round
be.
elbows.
You'll see it though. Watch the two
But yeah, no, like anime is supposed to be its ultimate form, honestly. Like if
You
we're
would
all
It is.
think
watching
on
that
paper, like on paper, it
Mhm.
should be optimal, but then it's like, I think I think so because now this is why while I was saying it, I was like, I don't know, this might be cap because the things that anime takes away from the experience of like a manga or a light novel, manhwa, or whatever, is like it's one thing, it's the imagination, right? It takes a bit of that away from you,
Mhm.
right? And then it forces you into a specific kind of timing. And what happens with that is not everyone can direct and use timing or lack of or use empty space. Not everyone can direct the same way or the same caliber. So
Mm.
a lot of times with these anime, the original writers aren't directing it per se, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So the
Right.
beats you can get in the way panels are arranged, the way they make your eyes go, the way your eyes will trace a page, things like that, the way the art kind of takes you certain directions, it can make you sit on this empty space. So they'll make this panel has more white space, so now your eyes rest there a little bit longer. And then things like that that can force you to kind of get into a pace of reading, which lets you digest the story a different way. That can't happen in an anime if the director isn't savvy on what the original writer was intending to do, So there can be a lot of things that let you end up losing with anime.
Yeah.
But the
Lost in
trade-off supposed to be
translation.
is I get to have the sound direction. I get to have the music to back it up, to fill in those gaps of intensity and things like that. But
Mm.
it's rough. It's very rough. Because like I said, there's been times where even with Haikyuu, which it's a sports manga and anime, there are moments where I'm like, the manga did this better, and I'm like, you'd think it's a sports story.
It's a sports story.
The
And the still
animation should be
image
way
did a better
better.
job. Yeah.
But I'm like, nah, bro. That when I seen this on the panels, I was going crazy. Like, so it's like, it was still dope in the anime, but I'm like, it just didn't hit the same. Or like that clip I showed that screenshot I showed you before of Aoashi, my boy sitting on the bus.
Yeah.
I
This
mean,
shit, it just hit different in the manga, bro. He looked goofy in the anime. I was like, oh brother, like,
Who
like
is this edgelord? Yo, what's
word,
going
bro.
on,
This
man?
kid ain't been through nothing, bro. My god, in the manga though, that man been through it, bro. He about to make a move. This kid in the anime, yeah, all right, brother. I don't believe you. You know, so it's like there's like on. You would think the anime should be the optimal medium, but then when you think about it like that, as far as how you convey a story, there are certain things that you can only do on pages.
Hmm.
And vice versa. There's things you can only do in the anime, but because of that gap of imagination, I guess that freedom, you might have more freedom written on pages than in the anime. Yeah, hold on, wait a second.
you do, you do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's
the
another
animation
factor.
aspect. Yeah,
There's not a, and I'm not to, sorry, not to cut you off, but there's another factor that plays into it because you mentioned sound, but another thing that a lot of people love in anime is the voice acting.
yeah,
And if you can't match the voice that I hear in my head when I'm reading the manga,
true.
if that voice is lighter, if Bakugo had a lighter voice
Oof.
than what he has now, I'd be like, oh wait, no, you know,
They big.
no,
Like, he has some squeaky ass voice. I'm like, hold on, this ain't Bakugo. Boy,
yeah.
you.
Also,
Yeah,
that filler voice, the extra character that they added in there, because it does play in imagination. You have to fit that. You have to portray that imagination aspect, which is the voice. If the voice don't sound right, especially in the English dub and in the actual sub, then I'm not. Mm,
yeah, it can throw off people too. Yeah, 'cause that's
yeah,
one thing that goes into like the direct. I guess that would be more so producing. I guess where it's like you have to decide because a lot of times the art direction, how the person sounds goes into designing a character.
sure.
A lot of times, so it's like if there's a mismatch between what that source material, the person that made the source material, if there's a mismatch between that and what happens in the anime, that can also throw things off. So yeah, there's a lot that because that's the thing with whenever you're sourcing anything, there's a lot that can go wrong. So yeah, maybe I'm trying to think in a perfect world, would the anime be the best experience?
I mean,
I don't know.
and also just to add more to a little bit more to that, not to hold it up, Glow, because I know you're next, but the hot take.
I'm mulling
But
this over.
Yeah.
he's rethinking it. But
No.
like also another thing is just like with anime, it's like movies, like with movies you only have like an hour and some change sometimes in order to
Mm,
convey, whatever story you're trying to convey. And I think a perfect example of it is like the Mugen Train, right?
mm,
It's like they put that whole arc into a movie, but it's like we never really got that investment into Rengoku
mm.
that I was
Yes.
like, because it's like I did feel bad for him in the end, and what he did and what he,
Why you put it like that, son?
Nah, let me explain. Let me explain. Like
For him.
Go ahead.
I felt,
Go ahead.
I
Go
felt
ahead.
bad, and I did shed a tear for sure. But I was like,
Yes.
I wish we had more moments with him in the beginning to lead up to that to make me care for him. But I don't know for sure if the manga took enough time to really
It
let us know about him.
it definitely did. It didn't get us
Yeah,
to know about him, but it's more like they kind of made you curious about who he was.
Yeah.
I would
Like
say, like
yeah, the
Mhm.
that's why I
gravity
like
of him being like his character has more it feels like there's more gravity of
For
where
sure.
him being there in the manga. Like
mm-hmm.
I
yes,
remember when the movies got
100%.
announced, I was sad that it was a movie.
Yeah,
I was like, how are
same.
they gonna do that in one movie?
Yeah, like are we going to get the full like impact of Rengoku
Yeah.
in that one movie when we're supposed to like sort of be building like this sort of like brotherly figure, you know? And
Yep.
that's not enough you can do
Mm-hmm.
in
Yeah.
one movie. I mean,
Yeah.
some people have in their own sort of I guess their own jabs at their own stories and whatnot, but
Mhm.
for Demon Slayer, it's like nah, like he needed to be fleshed out a bit.
Yeah.
So High Top can't go, oh man.
Yeah,
Poor
I
guy.
exactly.
didn't go, oh man,
Poor
I
guy.
was
Oh,
Oh,
upset.
fool.
Yo.
so sad.
That's horrible. Nah, I felt bad for you, boy. I just wanted
Oh
more time
man.
with him, Like in the anime, even when they brought the anime back for a little bit, they did try that. I watched a little bit of it, even though it's just a rehash of the movie. I did
Mhm.
watch a little bit of it, and I was like, I can see them trying, especially like in the first episode leading up to the end. But still,
Mhm.
it's like, you know, like with anime, it's supposed to be the ultimate form of it, but also including with everything we talked about, it's also the amount of time and like, you know, it's like Hollywood. It's like you can't put all the words that are in the book in the movie. Especially you got to make it as dynamic and interesting as possible. And anime is kind of like that too. Like I think like even Overlord, the light novel, there's a lot of stuff that they took out of the light novel and didn't even include it in the anime. But you know, it's still good. But like you know, and I read a little bit of it, and it's like, wow, there's certain things that they did that were way different in the book than it did in the anime. It wasn't bad. I was like, dang, I kind of wish they went this route instead of what they did in anime. So yeah, there's that. All right, Glow, you are the last one with the hot take. What you got?
All right. I'm about to say some out of pocket stuff about
Oh,
Naruto.
it's open. It's
All
open,
right.
open
Naruto,
space.
hold on.
It's
Oh,
open
wait.
space until we put it on YouTube.
What the dog doing?
All right. It's almost like a two-pronged thing. All right, in my opinion, I think or I believe Naruto to be the cultural successor to Dragon Ball. Okay.
Hold on.
Look.
Go on, let him land. Let him land. Let him land.
Okay.
Look. In that, back in the day, a lot of people that we'd know or that you'd interact with, their only anime or what grounded them in anime would be, you know, Dragon Ball. It'd be Goku. It'd be Dragon Ball Z. It would be the big fights, the Frieza stuff. You know what I mean? The Cell Saga and whatnot. But when you look at the more recent generations of anime fans, it's almost as if Naruto has taken that place. Like Naruto's the big anime that they've seen. The whole shinobi stuff, right? You got the Akatsuki clouds everywhere, all that sort of stuff. It's like a lot of what Dragon Ball used to be for the anime community at large. It's like Naruto has become that. That's not exactly my hot take, but my hot take is Naruto actually that good? Or is it because it became that cultural successor to Dragon Ball that it's just perceived that way?
Ooh, dang, that's a loaded one.
Okay.
That's
All right.
a loaded one.
Because you know, if you ask that question, I'm sorry not to cut you off, but if you ask that question, that's asking if Dragon Ball is that Dragon Ball Dragon Ball franchise is that good, or is it because it was one of the only animes we could watch back then?
Right. Like it was just that accessible to so many people and whatnot, and they got into it. And we can have a conversation about if Dragon Ball is, you know, the GOAT. But I just feel that Naruto being like, because I've spoken to people like a lot of younger anime fans, right, who they love Naruto. They're big on Sasuke. They talk about the Sharingan, how like the fights in the show are like all these amazing things that they've seen, and that's anime to them, right? And I'm like, damn, y'all a bunch of not ignorant, but like that's all they know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't fault them for that at all either, because that's what got them into anime, and that's probably where they're gonna go with anime full stop, right? It's like Naruto, and that's it. I'm good. And that just made me think like, yo, is this popularity that Naruto has because like inherently it's good, or is it just that because it was so accessible and, you know, it's just culturally this big thing that, you know, you just think it's good, or people just they don't know better, you know what I mean? And not like this entire podcast I was thinking about, I was like, man, I don't know if I want to ask this question, man, because that's really just, I don't know, that's attacking people's cores, yo.
No, because like real spit, you had me in the first half. Not gonna lie, I was about to be like, hold on, but like I thought about it for a minute, and you have a point, because it's like for us, you know, Dragon Ball Z was that anime that's like, you know, I feel like that got us into like shonen in a way. We all remember Dragon Ball Z fondly. even looking at Dragon Ball Super, we're like, oh, it's great to see it, even though it's not as good as it used to be.
Yeah.
But it has good fights. But seeing how Naruto was kind of like, how it affects like the next generation is like, yeah, it is. I feel like it is like that cultural successor to Dragon Ball Z. Like Naruto, like maybe not this generation's Naruto is this generation's Dragon Ball Z, and moving on up, like who knows, My Hero or Demon Slayer, whatever big, or what was it, Black Clover could be the next thing. Who
I don't know.
knows?
Yeah.
Black Clover, maybe I'm stretching with Black Clover, but
Oh,
still.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a reach right there.
I think Naruto's gonna bleed into some generations for a little bit more, since you can still like get into it and watch it. Because I see Akatsuki clouds freaking everywhere, man.
Yeah.
Like headbands, like everything. Like the Naruto culture thing is still so prevalent, even though technically it ended a while ago. And that was the same thing for Dragon Ball, right?
Young
Dragon
kids
Ball
still
Z,
Naruto run, bro.
Yeah,
they
Dragon
do.
Ball Z was a big thing, even after GT came out. You know what I mean? Like GT was out for a minute, and Dragon Ball Z ended a while, but that was still so big in the community, right? The whole Dragon Ball Z sort of thing. And I think Naruto's going to be around to stay for a while until the next thing happens, but I don't know what that next thing is. But.
So I have a couple things to say about your two-pronged statement, right?
Yeah.
So on the first angle, I do believe Naruto is the next I agree with you as far as being the next cultural anime. Like it's the next first step for anybody that has any kind of toe dipped into the pool of anime.
Yeah.
Odds are Naruto. You say Naruto, they'll be like, yeah, they'll know what you're talking about, right? Without having watched any other anime, you can bet on someone knowing what Naruto is if they have a little bit of an inkling. As far as the question of, and there's a couple reasons for that, I believe. One is because Dragon Ball Z set up a lot of the tropes and the fallback kind of archetypical lines you can follow as far as shonen goes, right? And then the big sons of those tropes and archetypes are the big three: Bleach, Naruto, and One Piece. They all kind of took those things and transformed them in their own ways. And I think what Naruto ended up doing was Naruto ended up establishing a lot of shonen tropes itself that we see in a lot of anime that come up nowadays.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's why Naruto kind of just feels so pervasive in that there are things from Naruto, and that's why some people will say Naruto feels generic, but it's more so that the other things became generic because of Naruto.
Right, because they followed that like blueprint.
Yeah. So it's like, because you got to remember how old Naruto is. Like the big three been there for a minute, so it's like,
Hell yeah.
So it's like they were the ones that started a lot of these tropes. So it's like Naruto's not the generic one; it's the things that came after it. That be like, there were the easy people would take the easy tropes they could grab, and then they just like, all right, that gets copy and pasted around. So now, as far as if Naruto deserves that kind of stance, I think it does, because of that foundation of creating those ideas, those tropes, those lines. And also the depth of Naruto. Like, people can crack on Naruto so much, but the depth of Naruto as far as his character goes, excluding a lot of the female characters, we know that he just wasn't that good at writing a lot of female characters. Bro.
Definitely not.
It is what it is. But outside of that, the depth of characters, and sometimes it's things that people even miss, because I've had this conversation. I think I've spoken about this with you guys before too, where how people misread how some of what each character was supposed to be in the story. How people will look at Naruto like he was an underdog when he wasn't the underdog. Actually, the whole red herring is that he's an underdog. He's only an underdog socially, but when it comes to him as a character, he has everything inside of him to be the most broken person, most amazing person ever. And the whole story is him realizing that and accepting that and making everyone else see it. And that's why he begins to excel once he gets running, it's over. So it's like you have characters like that. Then you have the Rock Lee, who actually is the underdog. Then you have the first real edgelord, low key, bro. And that's another misconception where people just look at Sasuke at face value and go, "Oh yeah, emo, blah blah blah." But he deserves to be sad. Like,
Yeah.
Or
Oh,
no.
like yes, he should be sad. It'd be
Right,
weirder
right.
if he wasn't. Stuff like that. So it's like it has those kind of light, and even a character like Sakura, even though I hate Sakura, but what she represents as a character is actually really interesting because it's someone that's choosing not to accept reality. And I wish
yeah.
they would have kept her going in that path of Genjutsu because that would have been another mirror to her whole psyche. Because it's like she refuses to accept reality. Oh, she's an expert at illusions, crazy. But you know, Kishimo ain't that good at writing. You know, I'm like you see a girl and suddenly his mind is brain freezes. It's weird. But
Yeah.
I would say Naruto has it does state that claim because of the things that it sets up for so many other anime. It's the blueprints it allows for other animes to follow
Mm.
makes it have that kind of stain, and the fact that it's so easily digestible for like any age group,
That is
any
true.
anybody can get something from it, even if you don't get the same thing from it. Like I have a friend whose favorite character is Sakura for her own personal life reasons, stuff like that. So it's like if you can watch that and get Sakura kind of fire out of it, you could get anything from there, bro. I crack jokes about it every time I talk to her about Naruto. I'm like, Sakura, that's crazy. But so I think it deserves it, and because that's kind of how Dragon Ball Z was too. Like, there's so much you can grab from it, so many characters. It's like so many hype moments, even though they kind of fumbled their bag as well here and there, depending on who you ask. But yeah, so
I,
Yeah.
I agree. And can I add on to your statement first with the characters? Is that with Naruto, each character was very different from each other. Like, no, like you
mhm.
can see in the anime nowadays that certain characters kind of blend in a little bit, or they have that dynamic of this is the leader character and we're just a secondary sidekick kind of thing, like a Batman Ramen type thing. And I'm not saying with Demon Slayer, but Demon Slayer. But
We gonna have to talk about that.
yeah,
We gonna talk about that.
I'll say for another time. All right, but um, I say that like with Naruto, is a lot of the characters are very different, have their own like trials and tribulations that they go through, and they kind of, I'm not saying more about female characters, but like a lot of them level up and become more than what they were before. And the thing about it is that yes, it kind of blew up because of the fact that it was easily accessible. Like before I had cable, and everyone knows the story. Before I had cable, I would watch anime through the regular public stations. And one of the public stations I would really watch on was Channel 47, Telemundo. And guess what played on that? Dragon Ball Z, Red Baron, and occasionally they'll play Naruto, like once in a while, but it'll be in Spanish. But I would still watch it even though it's in Spanish. So I was able to get to it even without having cable and everything or having
Mhm.
internet to go online to see it. So that's with those kind of shows, you of course is gonna blow up because of that access to it. But for as a storyline, I watched it originally when I first watched it, I was like, oh, this guy, Databayo all the time. What's up with him? Like, why is he so hyped? Like, who's this asshole? Like, like it's things like that. I'm like, all right, this is. I don't know if I can really bond. And I'm watching. And I'm like, okay, this is good. The fight scenes are good. The fight scenes are good. And I'm still watching. I'm like, okay, he kind of grew his character. But when this new generation kind of brought out certain things about the show that had me like, wait a second, wait a minute now, wait, he was really a kid that had all this power,
Mhm.
and everyone ostracized him for that, not knowing that he actually saved that village. And Sasuke and his storyline, it's just like, wait, so that's why. And then you're hearing each piece of each character's storyline. You're like, wait, okay, these kids are fighting a war. Like these are children of war fighting in a war that they necessarily did not start. And they're going out like let's say the Choni exam. Why the hell were they fighting against like it's a lot of like layers to that I'm now realizing, and now like even look back now as adult, I'm like, yo, this shit was really kind of like this is really crazy.
Mm.
So and I see people bringing up things like, oh, Naruto was, even though he did all that, his father, who was a Hokage, he's still treated like trash, living in like a Section 8, like below Section 8 apartment complex, eating only ramen noodles because for free because that's all he could really afford. And like I see more like this generation is actually bringing out more to me in the Naruto show, not so much Boruto because I don't think that's Like
Yeah,
I don't know. Like
yeah,
yeah, there's no one really has a connection with it because I guess the characters are so. It seems like they're like he had mentioned before, like like it's too much of a play on that same trope of Naruto. So it's like, okay, I'm watching the same thing again. Like no one wants to do that. But with Naruto, it seems like it's the more you watch it, especially if you rewatch it and then like actually even with the filler episodes, I'm like, oh, you see like the little jokes here and there as an adult now. I'm like, okay, well, oh, that's funny. Oh, that happened. Oh, that's why you did. Oh, and then because it's that kind of show where it's levels to it as well as, but as soon as you actually understand it, certain segments of it, you're like, okay, now that's why it connects. Like that scene happened because of that. Okay, now I can watch it again just to see that scene again because I can like that's how Naruto is to me. But certain like the animes now, like I can't really do that because I already, I've watched everything, so it's like, oh, I don't connect with it on that kind of level because everyone's kind of the same on some level. So I can't really. But with Naruto and shows like Dragon Ball, not saying Dragon Ball, I really connect with characters like that because they're fighting the majority of the time. Let's be real, and they're always fighting a villain or something, but it's still like that entertainment of the little jokes that are said in between these, each episode and stuff like that. So that's why I kind of with Naruto I connected with it not when I was younger, but as I got older, if that makes sense. Because
yeah,
then
for
I
sure.
understood what it actually like what the depth of the show was. Because I just thought it was a kid saying "Dad Bio" and just jumping and yelling around with his orange, a ninja with an orange, like
Bright as
how
ninja.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. So it's just like I'm like, what the hell is this guy about? Like, but then it's just as the Shippuden and everything like that. I'm like, okay, but now I'm older. I'm like, oh, okay, this show's actually really deep. Wow.
And with that being said, kind of wrapping it up, basically with all these hot takes that we had, honestly, I like the fact that even though we had our disagreements with some of these hot takes, after really talking about it, we find like, we find some common ground or we rethink some of these hot takes, or even in the heat of the moment, we rethink of these hot takes and just like, sometimes, we think one way, but then someone has another opinion about it. And it's like, oh, I didn't think about it that way.
yeah, bro.
Especially with like the whole Dragon Ball Z and Naruto, like Naruto being the successor. I was like, hold on a minute now. I was about to flame. I was like, boy, don't you
Ah,
do it. But he spoke his piece. I was like, you know what? You got a point. You got a point. But with that being said, that's all we have for tonight's episode of the Baka Gamers podcast. If you enjoyed the episode, drop a like, leave a comment, tell us how you feel about the episode. Tell us your hot takes in the comments. And we'll see you guys on the next episode. Peace out.
later.
Peace,
Peace.
letters.